KuCoin now has IronFish as one of its cryptos. So this way we can exchange that for USDT if we'd like to. But you have to do a couple things before you send your crypto, okay? I'm going to make the assumption that you are already on mainnet with your wallet. Otherwise, you wouldn't even know your wallet, your crypto at that point. Which means it's very possible that you're on version 1 of the wallet and you need to be on version 1.1 or 1.2. We'll get into it right now. First thing you want to do is check your status of your IronFish node. And basically you're going to type IronFish status. And it's going to have to think for a little bit. As you can see in the status that we are on 1.0.0.0 of our node. We need to upgrade the node. And that's really easy to do. And I've done it a couple, because I have a couple of nodes running. You do not have to stop the node, but I highly recommend you stopping a node. So basically, ours is stopped, but you would just type in IronFish stop, and she would stop the node. Mine's already stopped. What we need to do is upgrade our node, and that's real easy to do. It's the same process as installing a node. So what we're going to do is type in npm install space -g space IronFish, and that is going to grab the latest and greatest version of IronFish. And this will take a little bit. It will do, depending how busy the internet traffic is and everything else. It looks like it's now pulling it down. It's fetching the main net. All right, so now it's finished. And we can go back and do a IronFish status. And let it think. And you see the node is now 1.1.0. So we're good to go. And the reason why you had the upgrade is that in order for you to send your crypto, you must, I cannot highlight this enough, you will lose your crypto. You must put the note in the crypto. All right, so let's now start our IronFish node. And you must also have it synced fully before you send your crypto. Okay, so you can see that once we start it, we are on 1.01. And it is doing its process and starting and connecting to the network. So we'll be back as soon as it finishes that. All right, so our network, or our IronFish is on the network. Our node is. We're going to hit IronFish status one more time to verify our node and that we are started. So you can see that our 8 workers were started and we are idle. We are synced. So now we can send our crypto. Now, I will say, depending on how busy the network is, what the difficulty is, and how many miners are mining right now, there's a lot of miners mining, but I've had it where I did a couple of tests and I had it where it was within 5 minutes into my KuCoin wallet, and sometimes it took a couple hours. And I've actually had it where it was almost a half a day, about 12 hours. Wanted to make sure this was working before I did a video. But, you know, we got our status. And right now we're going to look and see how much is left in my crypto wallet after my testing. So I'm going to do wallet : balances. If you do balance, it'll take the default wallet. Balances is all the wallets in case you have more than one wallet. That's the difference between the S. And that's going to think after we hit return. And I got to look past my screen here. So 0.71413. Now, to send, let's see, we're going to do IronFish wallet :send -- memo. Now remember, you have to have the memo. So when you go to KuCoin, you go into the receive of deposit of the IronFish, and it'll give you the public address for that and the memo. So you're going to start with the memo. So you're going to type in the memo, make sure it's correct. And it's going to think a little bit. All right, so now it wants to know how much of the IronFish do I want to send. I highly recommend a test first. So we're going to do 0. Oops. Yep, and you have to put the 0 in. 0.0. We'll do 5. And now it's asking me for my public key. I have my public key written down here on the pad. And here is my public key. Also, these are the commands we've been using, so you can see what that looks like. I double clicked. All right, so now we're going to paste in our address. And then we're going to hit return. And now it's asking us for average, fast, or slow. And actually, it looks like the gas prices have gone up. It was all those zeros and 1. Now it's 3. It's still very cheap. But it looks like it's still continuing to be the same for fast, average, or slow. I'm just going to pick fast and see if that makes a difference. I've always been doing average, and I'm curious to see what fast does for us. And now it's going to ask us to verify this transaction before sending it. So this is your last chance to verify everything's correct, to make sure you have the memo in there correctly and the public address, along with how much of the IronFish do you want to send. So we're looking here. We got our address, we got our memo, and I'm sending my 0.5, and I'm using 0.0003 for my fee, and a capital Y for yes, and we're going to hit send. And it's going to think, and it does take a while to think, so don't panic, don't hit any keys. I do know also, I tested the node out on Windows. This way you guys know. If you're using Windows, do not use PowerShell SE, use PowerShell. And I like to run that as admin as well. It gives you a little bit more privilege to make sure everything's working right. Okay, so now we got our transaction back. And it says if the transaction is mined, so it should be mined, this is where we're going to go look for our transaction. Now remember, IronFish is a privacy cryptocurrency, so you're not going to get as much information as you would, say, on Ether or Bitcoin. We're going to open up a browser. And I know it looks like it's slow. It is a little bit slow. I have several different things running out on my Proxmox server right now, and I'm running this Iron node from my Proxmox server, which is really kind of nice because it isolates everything from the rest of my network. So we're going to type in paste and go. Now, before error, do not panic. It takes a little time for this to go into the system. So right now, it's in the process of sending still. Even though it says sent on your side, it still takes a little bit of time for this to happen. So basically, you're just gonna hit refresh every couple minutes. Last time it took about a minute. I've had it take about 5 minutes. I've actually had it one time actually go right to it. Now that might be, I might have been doing something else, I think, then actually went and did this. So we'll wait a minute now and see what happens. So we'll be right back. Okay, so it's been about 2.5 minutes. Let's try refreshing this and see if we get anywhere. And we did. Okay, so you can see our fee that we paid was 3 OR. Our hash rate, our hash, and then let's slide down. And here's our input outputs. And you're not going to see anything else. Again, this is a privacy coin, and it even tells you that right here with this. Your transaction details are hidden because Iron is a privacy coin, which is why we're mining it and why we want IronFish, right? And then it has a little more information down here. So it looks like it'll eventually have how many were minted and how many were burned in the process. All right, so now we just have to wait for it to show up in KuCoin, and then we'll go from there. So we'll see how long that takes.